Okay, so I'm here with Cynthia, Mother Cynthia, and I have been given the task of opening my first bottle of champagne. Normally, if you're aware of me, it goes everywhere. So I have learned so much today, and I'm gonna put it to the test. And I am more nervous now than I have ever been for anything in my life. But let's do it. So I go right here. Am I doing it right so far? Okay.
You see how it's peeling off nice and clean?
And it's not messy, which normally it is. Okay, and then I go for this right down here, but I put my finger here first.
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right.
Okay.
So I put my finger here.
Do you remember what putting your thumb there is for?
So I have full control.
That's your safety mechanism.
That's my safety mechanism.
Keep it down.
So you put this in between your two fingers.
Not yet, actually.
Well,
keep your thumb here.
Okay.
And then you open your cage. First
maybe
you need to open it.
You said it maybe 6 times?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so and now.
Okay, now you need to, you never take that thumb off. That's your safety mechanism.
Okay.
Okay, so once you've twisted your cage 6 times, you want to loosen the cage a little bit, and that's why you needed to have a clean rip of the foil, because you don't want your cage stuck under the lip. Okay. So put your thumb back on here. Okay, now take those fingers like this. Wait.
This one, right?
No. Put it between these like this.
Okay.
And now you want to grip your cork.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
And the trick is to hold your bottle at 45 degrees.
Okay. Like
By
this.
the bottom like that. So you're gripping the cork. You can put your thumb up here like this now, because the important thing is to have a good grip.
Okay, I'm actually going to switch hands. Is that
You
wrong
can,
to do?
if you feel comfortable.
I feel like this is better.
And put this maybe one more finger over there. Okay, so get a good grip, like basically holding it like that.
Okay.
You turn the bottle, you grip the cork and you turn the bottle at 45 degrees angle.
Okay.
You're turning your cork, turn the bottle.
Okay. Cynthia, I'm terrified, but I've got it.
Okay, and if you want more control, put it down, let go, like this.
Okay.
There you have more control, like a pro.
Oh my God, that was the most nerve-wracking thing in my entire life, Cynthia.
But you saw that you were totally in control of the cork. It wasn't going anywhere unless you let it.
Yes.
Okay. And now the only thing you need to practice is when it gets closer is to twist your cork down to get that whisper.
Okay. I didn't get a whisper, I got a little growl.
Little pop.
But anyway, I'm here with Cynthia and we are having the most amazing time, and Mother Cynthia and son Adam wish you well. Bonsoir, muckers. I'm saying that because it is 6 p.m. here in Paris. I'm in Paris. I have been here for the past week. It was not the greatest timing to immediately come on a trip considering everything that happened, but if anything, it's been a great distraction, and I've been here with my friend from home, and we have just been having the most amazing time. But I want to tell you about a story. I wasn't going to record while I was here, but I'm so glad that I happened to leave my camera in my bag. A couple days in Paris, I get a message from Cynthia, who you may know if you watch my videos as Cynthia the Wine Woman or Cynthia the Champagne Woman from the Tana mongeau Storytime. Now, she messages me and goes, "Hey, I live in Paris, like if you would want, I would love to meet you if you want to come over and we can have a glass of champagne." Now, we've talked about Cynthia at extent on this YouTube channel, and I know a lot of people, whenever I talked about this, forgot about the story. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna cut to one of my live streams, like a little section of it, of Tana mongeau talking about Cynthia, which is where the story begins, because the clip has been removed from Tana mongeau from every social media platform. It has been removed from her podcast. So I'm gonna include it here so you can get a little bit of reference, and also it's very important to the story because it completely is different from my experience with Cynthia, and I would like to use my platform to highlight her in a great way because it was an experience. So let's cut to that clip and then I'll see you on the other side.
Who is taking us on the tour is there to greet us at the train station. Okay. Keep in mind where we're going is like 3 hours away.
So did she come all the way there?
She came all the way there.
That's a good.
I'm actually going to be calling her by her name.
Oh, is she horrible?
Cynthia. Is that Cynthia? I wrote it down. Let me make sure it's fucking Cynthia. 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 Uh-oh. We get to the train station.
So the problem with this is that someone said, I don't think Tana's wrong. She just want a refund. We're going to get to all that, by the way. Because, by the way, whenever I watched this last night. And again, I wasn't really paying attention. And I saw nothing wrong with the story. And then it was only whenever I was rewatching it today that I kind of realized, like, holy shit, Tana Mongeau is a big influencer. And I saw that a lot of people were flooding the company that Tana Mongeau said the name of. And then also said the employee's name. That basically people were trying to dox Cynthia because they knew what company she worked at. They were trying to get her fired. They were trying to ruin the reputation of the company, which the company were basically just doing a walking tour, and Tana didn't want to do a walking tour, which is absolutely fine. Tana's friend didn't tell her that it was a walking tour, but it's not Cynthia and the worker's fault for Tana going to a walking tour and not wanting to do a walking tour. So the worker is getting all this harassment and stuff now because Tana, bravely said her name and said the name of the company. And that's where people have the issue, because if Tana said this story without saying the name of the company and the worker's name, it would have been an anonymous story, which would have been fine. And the fact that she said that has opened up that now someone is getting doxxed and swatted at the hands of an influencer who has millions of followers. And that's the problem. And that is a very valid problem. There are consequences of being an influencer where you have to be a little bit more careful of what you're talking about, because you do have a responsibility. But anyway, we're going to get to this. We're going to talk about the backlash. Then I'm going to give my opinion.
And I haven't eaten. I'm so hungover. They tell us there's going to be food on the train. There's going to be food there. We get on the train. There's no food on the train. There's no food at the wine tour. I find out. I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm starving. I'm exhausted. I'm hungover. I'm sad. And she starts immediately talking to us. And she asks a question that for me is going to be the entire preface of my frustration with this story. Okay?
Okay.
She looks at all of us and she says, this tour can go one of two ways. Would you like to have a fun tour or an educational tour?
Why the fuck would I want to have an educational tour? I guess that is like what a wine tour's for. But
yeah, but I think that our age range is not necessarily whatever. And I appreciate the question. Thank you for asking. We all come to the consensus, hey, we didn't really sleep last night. We're super tired.
Sorry, that is so real, by the way. Who the fuck would want to do that?
We'd like to go on a fun wine tour, right? So then I put in my headphones for what is probably 1 minute. And I intend on sleeping on this 2.5 hour train ride. Girl dinner, I'm going to have sleep for breakfast. Mm-hmm. At least get some rest before we go on this long day.
Yeah, you gotta charge up.
And I feel a tap on my shoulder.
Oh.
As I'm dozing off. It's Cynthia.
Cynthia?
I take my headphone out. And she proceeds to go on a 30-minute tangent to me about why Veuve Clicquot champagne is called Veuve Clicquot champagne.
Shut the fuck up, Cynthia.
And Ty has a video of me that I'll try to insert in this podcast. And I'm looking at her and I'm still trying to be nice, but I have tears in my eyes. I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
You should have just told her you already knew. Yeah, she could tell by the look of you. You don't speak English?
So then, as she's on this entire tangent, she lets us know that we will be spending the day walking approximately 6 or 7 miles.
No.
I'm going to be honest. Okay, so here's my thing, right? A wine tour I have always wanted to do, but I have not done it because I can't commit to the amount of walking that a lot of wine tours are. And Tana and her friends agreed to go on a wine tour. They agreed to go on a wine tour. So as funny as I can find this story in parts, because again, someone wrote it in the chat, and I do want to say this. Parisians hate Americans. And a lot of places in Europe hate Americans. Like, I know that Tana recently spoke about how she feels like kind of not loved in London because a lot of workers don't like Americans. And I can tell you that they don't. And the reason I know this is because a lot of places, specifically in London, will ask me what part of America I'm from. after treating me so rude for like 10 or 20 minutes at a restaurant. And then it clicks in my head and I'm like, oh, I'm not from America. And they start treating me nice again. It's just a case that a lot of Europeans don't like Americans. So whenever, and you know, that's weird and that's its own thing. And I'm not saying that as I agree with it. I'm saying that as that is a case. I have a lot of American friends. And I've also kind of experienced it with a lot of companies thinking I am American. But anyway, so when Tana speaks about this person, Cynthia, being like rude to her immediately, I'm kind of like, you know, that kind of makes sense. Like Tana Mongeau is like the typical like influencer American. Like she is annoying. But also, it's important to note that Cynthia is being paid a lot of money to do this wine tour, which includes picking them up in Paris. And she's, by the way, with a group. Like, they were also with another group, like, not just Tana's friends. Like, it was a big group that they all didn't know each other and whatever. So there's other paying customers on this trip, right? So Tana agreed to go on a wine tasting tour, whether she wants to admit it or not. So this woman was only doing her job. I'm sure she had an attitude with her, but when you retell the story and you give like her workplace and her name, it opens up like a really big issue that even like Cynthia could like sue and stuff like that as well. Like again, there are parts of the story that I find funny, like, oh, a struggle of not wanting to, you know, walk, or, you know, just give me so much wine or something. But you really got to be careful when you start naming people and stuff like this. But we're going to continue just for a little bit.
There are no golf carts. There are no cars. There are no ATVs. There are no bikes. There are no horses. There are no skateboards. There are no fucking hoverboards. There are no rollerblades. We will be walking 6 or 7 miles.
Absolutely not. I would have turned that train around.
It's 8 a.m. First thing I ask, how do I get on the next train back to France? It's not my thing.
But yeah, like that is
She's
not
still
gonna
in
work.
France, by the way.
And then Rob is asking her, like, what do you mean the tour I took last time is like was on a golf cart on whatever? And she's like, yeah, no, that's not this one. Like, I booked you on a different one. I thought you'd like it more.
Oh, I thought you would like it more, Cynthia. That is not your job.
Paige was wearing heels.
Oh no.
Paige was wearing lemon pepper fucking steppers. Like, first of all, still a rogue choice for a wine tour, Paige. I don't know why. But
Yeah,
it's like,
no, never is that appropriate for a
if you're
wine
gonna
tour.
invite people on something to walk 7 fucking miles, don't you think
Say
you should
where you're walking.
bring your Air
Bring
Maxes?
kids, yeah.
You know what I mean? What the fuck is going on? And I literally have to put on my sunglasses because I start crying. Like,
Okay, so then she talks about that for a little bit. I want to skip to another timestamp. Again, I kind of told you the preset for the story, so I am going to skip around in this story.
maybe only civilized people should have a drink.
Wait.
Paige,
I feel like if I were Cynthia, I'd be like, ooh, watch this.
I think she had a touch of the,
Don't say tism.
and maybe the social cues could not recognize.
So that's something we're going to talk about that Tana's getting criticism for. She also labels that Cynthia has autism because she was talking so much about wine and stuff. And then she talks now about the fact that Cynthia like gave them wine and was like, drink this how you normally would. And they all made a joke about like downing it and stuff. And then Cynthia goes, okay, well, maybe people who are going to be respectful should only drink.
But I don't know at the same time because I don't know. Finally, she hands Paige a bottle of wine and has her pour it the specific way and whatever, and then says, and now drink it how you would drink it. And Paige makes a very silly joke. We're all just joking around here. What else are you going to do in a miserable moment? Like, you know what I mean? And she puts it on her arm and makes a joke that she's going to like slam it like you know what I mean? And we all laugh. She doesn't do it, whatever. And Cynthia turns and says, maybe only civilized people should have a drink. You fucking
Whore.
cunt. You fucking fuck you. Okay, this is like, I didn't sign up for etiquette class. Take a joke. Get up from the fucking table. Go somewhere else. Also, who talks to people like that?
Cynthia.
Like, Cynthia talks to people like that. And so I'm hot at this point. I have to get up and like walk it off, and Damien comes over to like calm me down. I'm crying. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. There's just something about me that it's like when I want to altercate with someone and I am fighting that anxiety and frustration, and she's being such a bitch to me. And I love Paige. Like,
All right, one more.
I'm pacing in the corner, chugging wine to myself, just trying to be on my phone. I'm excited because I know the car is going to be there soon.
I don't even want to know what happens next.
So they now were begging to go home. So Cynthia orders them a car to take them back to Paris, and she now tells the story of that.
The car?
Yeah, that is what the main issue is. Someone's like, I think the only main issue here is that she's saying the name. That's what I'm saying. I said that I watched this last night. Obviously, there's comments in here that, you know, I don't agree with, like the autism comment and stuff like this. But for the most part, the back and forth banter of not wanting to be somewhere that you are, I thought was like a conversation that I was just watching on a podcast and I didn't really see much issue with. The problem that I saw the issue with, which is what the Reddit sees, is the influence that Tana has and is now getting Cynthia so much backlash in her real life, and the workplace for just doing their job are like being ran off Google, you know, reviews and stuff right now. When you could have told this story, left out the autism comment, and not named Cynthia or the company, and it would have been a fine story. You know what I mean?
Arrives. They open the doors.
Does Cynthia get in?
And Cynthia gets in!
Now, why?
This woman is now riding with us for 3 hours.
Wait,
The Paris France.
but
Why?
Why?
Why? Don't you live here? Aren't you one of 300? Why?
Why the fuck? Wait,
We're not
Could you not
pals, and we're paying for this car service.
could you not just be like, I think your job here is done.
Why? Why do you want to ride in a car with me?
I think she was having fun with you. I think that she was like, she probably was
At
getting
one
her
point,
fix.
I remember walking away, and she asked them, she's like, ask them what I do for a living. And then Paige is telling her, and she's like, in our town, we hate girls like her. Like, she's going on like a whole fucking thing. Like, why would you want to ride? And like, everyone in Paris had been so kind to me. Like, I don't know if in their town of 300 it is just like anti-influence. I don't know, like, whatever. Why would you want to ride in a car with me? You know.
But before we get into that, I do want to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Adam and Eve, who we love. Oh my god, I'm doing an Adam and Eve sponsorship from Paris. Et un Adam and Eve. Use code Adam. Oh, I don't know how to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 7, something? Adam 50. Anyway, in adamandeve.com. As you're aware, we have a long-standing sponsorship with Adam and Eve. They are absolutely incredible, and they have been so loyal to this channel. And before anything else, I do just want to say that you're aware that things haven't been the greatest for me recently, and I haven't been uploading, and they were absolutely incredible with allowing me to have my time. They didn't rush, they didn't whatever. And I just really love working with this company behind the scenes publicly. And I know a lot of you continue to use the code, which is the biggest support of my channel. But I also want to let you know that this company are amazing to me behind the scenes. They were very, very, very patient in waiting for me, you know, to come back online and to do the sponsorship. So I appreciate them. But I appreciate the deal, and I appreciate people that are using it. So if you go on adamandeve.com and use the code Adam50 at checkout, you get 50% half off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada, shipping everywhere else for the international babes as well. Now, they have 90-day no hassle return, 24/7 customer service, so if you don't love that product, you have that window as well, but trust me, you will. So many of you have used the code, so many of you continue to use the code. On their website, they have a bunch of things for people who are in relationships, people who are single. They also have a lot of self-care things, and we are approaching the end of the year, so if you want to go and get yourself a little Christmas present, if you celebrate, or a little end-of-year present for you, yourself, a lover, whoever, a friend, there are so many self-care things on there as well, by the way, and there's a lot of really fun games over there. But yeah, if you do, please use that code Adam50 at checkout. Not only will you get 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada, but it is the biggest support of my channel. I really appreciate working with them. They are over 50 years in the game, and they are just really incredible, like to talk back and forth with if you need to have any questions about your product. My favorite thing about them is that a bunch of their proceeds goes to helping fighting the spread of HIV all around the world. So all in all, just very proud to stand behind this company. So again, that is Adam50 at checkout for 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada, shipping everywhere else on adamandeve.com. On with the video. Okay, now that we're back from the Cynthia clip that I just played you, I want to tell you about how my experience went. And I'm so glad that Cynthia got to experience an experience with someone from the online world that wasn't like Tana Mongeau, and oh my god, I had strong feelings about Tana Mongeau to begin with, but after this experience talking with Cynthia, I can't even imagine what she is really like in person. So Cynthia messaged, and I let her know very quickly that I appreciated her reaching out. I thought it was very sweet. It's been many months since I talked about her. If you know, whenever I cover the story, I was 100% Team Cynthia, and all my comments were as well. It was flooded with justice for Cynthia. So it was so long ago that this happened. So the fact that she still kept me in her thoughts, just like a drama channel that covered the story, I really appreciated it. And I also let her know that I have my friend here with me. So I was like, I don't want to force anything on you. Like, I'm here with my friend, whatever. She got back to me and was like, that's perfect. I would love to meet both of you. And we talked back and forth for a little bit. She gave me her address, and fast forward to when we went to her house, she welcomed us with the biggest embrace, the biggest hug ever. And by the way, I also want to say that a lot of people may think that I'm just trying to go on the opposite of Tana, to be a little bit edgy or whatever. I can't stress enough how different meeting Cynthia was compared to what I heard of her online. Now, we're all aware when we dug into the story a little bit that she has an amazing reputation and that her work is so well received all around the world. But meeting her really did clarify that I don't know what Tana Mongeau was talking about. And I think that it was incredibly irresponsible for her to use her platform to talk about Cynthia in that way, and the damage that did to Cynthia's reputation, especially after meeting her. I didn't even need to meet her to know that it was wrong, but after meeting her, I can't imagine what that felt like for someone who isn't in the social media world to be thrown into that. But anyway, so she welcomed us with open arms. Honestly, what I thought was going to happen was we were going to sit on her sofa and we would talk for like maybe 20 minutes, and then we would go. Number one, I didn't expect that she would have champagne sitting ready for us. Number two, I didn't expect that she would have a cheese board of different kinds of cheese waiting for us. And number three, I didn't expect that she was going to be having breads and cookies and everything sitting out this big display for us. And number four, I didn't expect that she was going to take the time to basically give us the champagne wine experience of what Tana got. I literally told my friend, I was like, we're going to go here, we're going to talk, I'm really excited to meet her, and then we'll head off after it. We were going to Moulin Rouge, which was starting at 9. We went to Cynthia's house at like 5, I think. So I expected that I didn't want to take up too much of her time. She was being so sweet with meeting me. Anyway, I was like, we'll be there for like 30 minutes and we'll go on. When we get in, not only does she have the most incredible place in the entire world and so beautiful, and she has the most adorable cats in the entire world, she put so much effort into us being there, and obviously it meant so much to me, but it obviously meant so much that I had my friend there with me as well. It was like this, it was completely not what we were expecting. So we walk in, she was lovely, and we saw this bottle of champagne sitting, and like the little glasses, and I was like, oh my god, Cynthia, you didn't need to, this is really sweet. And she was like, sit down, we're gonna talk for a second. She proceeds to show us this bottle of champagne, which was the most beautiful bottle ever, and it was her friend's champagne. And she then goes, we're gonna have this, and then I'm gonna show you the kind of foods that you can pair it with, the kind of cheeses that you can compare it with. She brought all those out. We started, first of all, before we got into the champagne, she started talking to us about the process of creating champagne. And by the way, completely going against what Tana said, nothing within this woman is boring, by the way. I don't think me or my friend, after spending the time we spent with Cynthia, would ever come up with the words like aggressive, the C word, bitch, boring, anything. There is not one of those words I would ever use to describe Cynthia. She has this really just like fun energy about her, and she really is so lovely. So she brings out all this food. Me and my friend were expecting to go to dinner after it because we didn't think we were, going to be there for long because we didn't want to take up too much of her time. She had everything sitting out. She starts to teach us I'm going to kind of keep this as condensed as possible because, spoiler, we were late for Moulin Rouge. We arrived at Moulin Rouge literally within minutes of it starting. And the reason for that was because we stayed with Cynthia for over 3 hours. And those 3 hours did not feel like 3 hours. We were talking, chatting, drinking, eating. She was so comfortable with us being in her space, and we felt so comfortable, and my friend felt so comfortable, and I obviously knew of her. My friend did not know who this was, and we are sitting and talking, and she teaches us how to open a bottle of champagne. And let me tell you something, since that day a couple days ago, me and my friend have went from drinking white wine and red wine to champagne, because there is something so exciting about champagne now. I never thought, and I'm not even bullshitting you in any way, I now know how to open a bottle of champagne without making, you know the way you shake a bottle of champagne and it pops open? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. So we were taught how to open the bottle of champagne, how to pour it properly. I'm gonna cut to that video right now. So that was with our second bottle of champagne, by the way. So we drank this first bottle, and she was showing us these different kinds of breads, these different kinds of cookies, these cheeses, which are the most amazing cheeses in the entire fucking world, how to pair them with it. And she taught us, by the way, I want to share this with you because this has rocked my world. She got us to take a sip of champagne the way that we would take a sip of champagne. And there's me and my friend going, the two people that drink a lot, we went like, drinking it like that. And she was like, do you taste this like bitter taste, like down your tongue? And by the way, I've remembered all of this because I was so enthralled. And because Cynthia works with all, women in Champagne, and this is her business, all women, my friend was getting so involved in it as well. And it was just like, she really was so captivating. And so anyway, she was like, that bitter taste on your tongue? And we were like, yeah. She goes, I want you to do this. She takes a sip of champagne and she like swirls it around her mouth. And we're like, what is she doing? And we're like, okay, we did that. And she goes, okay, now swallow the champagne. Does it taste different? And it tasted so different. It was basically her letting us know that you get your mouth used to the champagne, which is something that I don't know because I normally just down it all in one. So she had brought out like her fancy glasses for us as well. And she was like, please, don't drop these. And me and my friend were like drinking like this, trying not to, ruin them. So basically, she tells us that this bottle of champagne that we initially drank, I think it was called like Rebel or Rebel, and she was like, this is very topical, this name. She goes, this is the one that Tana drank on the tour that she came on. And the fact that she made the effort to get that same bottle that Tana Mongeau and her friends drank during that horrifying experience was just something that was very, very, very exciting and sweet. We drank it and it was delicious. And it was also something you need to sip. I'm someone who loves drinking alcohol, but it's something you need to sip. So the story of Tana downing it to prove a point and stuff, don't even know how Tana did that. So I'm obviously asking her about the story, and I'm more so asking her how much did it affect her, how much did it affect, her company and stuff. And she really opened up about the damage that Tana did to her reputation when it comes to Google reviews. She was talking, I don't want to actually say anything that she was saying in terms of Tana, but I can speak on what was gathered from the conversation instead of doing direct quotes from her. There was a lot of repercussions that came for Cynthia because of what Tana Mongeau did, including so many people trying to harm her and harm her family. It was that extreme. And also she was talking about the amount of Google reviews that were left, and we saw them. We went through them on YouTube videos of people saying, don't go with Cynthia. Cynthia's a bitch. Cynthia will ruin your experience. And we're sitting here with this woman who's made such a big effort to like recreate that day for us. And she is so lovely and very, very, very intriguing with everything she's talking about. I just couldn't help but like feel incredibly like protective over her. And so she was talking about these like Google reviews, how much they ruined, the business temporarily at least. And she was also talking about the fact that, the company that, or her friends in the business as well were also dealing with the ramifications, and it had like a knock-on effect of these bad Google reviews being left by Tana Mongeau fans and stuff. And it was just the fact that I'm sitting in front of this woman who has done nothing but go out of her way to be incredibly kind to me and incredibly kind to my friend, who she doesn't really have to with my friend, nor has to do it with me. I just felt that what was done was a complete injustice. And I'm not even going to say that, use that word lightly, because I cannot stress to you enough how genuinely entertaining also this woman is, and just very, very, very funny and fun to chat to. So we drink that bottle of champagne and we're talking. She's asking me about like internet culture. She's talking about like the journalists that were writing articles. We were talking about, the sponsorships that Tana lost from it, and the amount of people that were reaching out to her locally in Paris from it. And she was also talking about how Tana acted on that day. And now again, she did tell me to kind of be careful on what I talk about online. But we're obviously aware of Tana's reputation, and we are aware of the way she is. I think that's a big part of her character. But one thing I definitely walked away from was I realized that there was, number one, so much of the story that Tana refused to include. And number two, Tana Mongeau was incredibly disrespectful to French and French culture even before she got to the champagne, place. So keep that in mind as well. And everything she was saying about Cynthia was things that Cynthia were doing to us. Like, Tana talked about, that she was talking about the history of this or the history of that or whatever. Cynthia was doing all these things to us, but she wasn't lecturing us. She wasn't, force feeding us information. She very much so, specifically my friend's a woman, and was asking her, was there anything she wanted to know, or what does she like in a champagne? And then my friend would say something, and she would center what she talks around about what my friend does. And I remember I made a comment where I was like, oh, you know everything. And she goes, because when people come on these tours, I kind of specialize it around them. And she was talking about how she will literally specialize an entire day around what people's interests are. So Tana's story doesn't add up in that capacity. But also, when Cynthia was doing things with us, it reminded me of what Tana was saying, but I was like, holy shit, I'm literally experiencing with the woman what happened to Tana, but it is not linking up in any way. So I'm just going to go completely out on a limb and say that Tana Mongeau was lying about absolutely everything that happened that day. And I feel that what probably hasn't been told is how much Cynthia kept her cool that day. Now, also, after we finished that bottle and we were, eating our cheeses, and she was telling us about these different cheeses, and again, I complimented one of the cheeses that was my favorite, so she started telling me about different ways of pairing it. It was never boring bullshit history. It was catering towards what we wanted to know, and she was talking about, it's really exciting when young people are interested in champagne and stuff, and how complex it is. For example, in terms of catering, she made a reference about storing champagne or something and how much it changes the flavor. My friend made a reference to something to do with storing it. Cynthia said something else about storing it, and then my friend says something, and based on what my friend said, Cynthia then found out that my friend would be interested in knowing about the different kind of barrels and how they change the flavor. And my friend was really interested in this, so then Cynthia was asking if she wanted to know more about it, and my friend didn't. It was very much so personalized and professional, and even in this really casual setting, and we hadn't even paid for a tour or whatever. By the way, she literally just invited us over. So when we finished this bottle of champagne, me and my friend were fully, expecting her to be like, bye-bye. She goes, I have another bottle for you. So, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get drunk. So she goes and gets this other bottle, and I didn't see how she was storing them, but they were cold as fuck whenever they came out. So whatever cooler she has, I need it. She brought out this other bottle and started telling us the differences in them. And she starts telling us about the different notes and how storing it changes it. We tasted it, and it made sense with what she was saying. I think one thing that was just completely overwhelming about Cynthia was that from things Tana said about her, I could see where Cynthia, half of the story, Cynthia would say something, I'd be like, wait, Tana talked about her talking about this, but what Tana said doesn't add up with what Cynthia's actually doing. The overall environment was Cynthia literally being would say something. If me or my friend said something, she would talk about it more. If not, she would sit back and casually talk about our lives, why she likes champagne, different things going on in her life. And me and my friend have this new thing now. Cynthia, if you're watching this, hi babe, where we were at Disneyland yesterday, and we were severely hungover because we ended up going to Moulin Rouge, got drunk at Moulin Rouge, and then this was after Cynthia's, and then went out clubbing. If you were on my Instagram story, sorry about that. We were at Disney very hungover, and they had a champagne stand, and we are very intrigued with champagne now. I'm not even bullshitting you. It is really interesting to drink and know the different flavors after learning about what this means. But one thing I really took from it was Cynthia had this conversation, I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, where she was talking about she really enjoys champagne because it's a drink of celebration. And whenever she drinks it, it's a celebration, and life should be a celebration. And we were talking about the culture of working versus living, and living to work, working to live. And she said this thing where she was, like enjoy the moment or something like that, or celebrate each moment or something. And me and my friend yesterday were like, oh, we are so hungover, we don't want to do that. And we both just went to each other. We were like, celebrate each moment. And we enjoyed like a glass of champagne in fucking Disneyland. And that was one thing I really took from Cynthia, which was this woman is not only really, really, really pleasant and really, really, really passionate and professional, but she has this amazing like spirit where me and my friend, like 3 days after meeting her, are still referencing things she talked about. We were at Moulin Rouge after Cynthia's house and we got a bottle of champagne, and the person, popped it open and shook it, and it went everywhere. Actually went all over my outfit. That's fine. Don't worry, that's fine. And whenever the worker left, me and my friend turned to each other and we were like, the bottle didn't whisper. The bottle didn't whisper, because Cynthia had taught us the certain way to open it, because that's not supposed to happen. And so whenever we, saw this big explosion of the thing, me and my friend just looked at each other and like giggled a little bit. So there are so many things that we have taken from that. But I think this overall, what I took from it was I'm overwhelmingly grateful that she went out of her way so much to make such a big effort for us. Number two, I have been drinking champagne ever since that instead of my usual red wine, because I think it's really interesting to taste the different notes. And also, I just absolutely love the idea of it's a drink of celebration and life should be a celebration, and taking a moment to slow it down. I don't really know what else to say other than nothing that Tana said made sense whatsoever. Like, there was a little part of me that went and I was like, what happens if this woman is a little bit like what Tana said? I never believed it, but I was like, what would happen then? Like, what would I tell my audience? And I'd be like, I would tell them the truth. Like, me and my friend were sitting talking. We were like, well, we would just have to say the truth, or we just, wouldn't say that we went. But because it was so opposite of what Tana talked about, I do want to go on the record to say that I know that I have a platform, and if you ever get the opportunity, I'm going to link all of her stuff down below, but if you ever get the opportunity to go on one of her wine champagne tours, you will leave it very, very, very inspired, I think is the word. And it just makes me really sad that she had to go through that, and that was her experience of the online community. Now, she did talk about the people that, completely contradicted that and gave her so much love. And if I could do anything with this video, I will link her Instagram down below. If you could go over and literally just like a couple of her photos and be like, I love this, or this is amazing, or something. Just if there's any community online, just to like give her a little bit of that, because I cannot stress enough how appreciative I am of her doing that to us, how much she welcomed me and my friend. And just out of fear of sounding cringy, she has kind of inspired us with different things she talked about, and she just was really fucking cool, like really cool. She was just sitting back, drinking, talking so casual, like, and with the way that Tana talked about her, like force feeding this information, most of the time she was just talking about life and enjoying life and her daughter and living in Paris and stuff. She just was, and asking, by the way, me and my friends so many questions about our life, not even to do with YouTube drama, but just our life, like just a very like tuned in, smart, intelligent, nice person. And I really feel for what she had to go through at the hands of literally the YouTube community. Like this woman who's just minding her own business doing these champagne tours. I would absolutely love to go on one of her champagne tours. I got to experience it, but she is so passionate that I want to go again. I know I went to her house, but like on one of the actual tours. If you ever get the opportunity, I would recommend going. I just want to do this video to say thank you to Cynthia. And again, if you could do anything, go and show her some love on her Instagram. Cynthia, I appreciate it. And I'm going to leave this video. I'm going to be back in Manchester in the morning, so we will be back with streams and videos and everything. Thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of time to not do anything on social media after everything happened with Milo, and then what I dealt with after what happened with Milo with the social media people. It has been very nice to exist without being at the hands of a comment section for a couple days. I will be back again tomorrow. I appreciate everyone's time and waiting for me. Again, if you use the code Adam50 on adamandeve.com, I will be so grateful. And I will talk to you all in my next video. Au revoir. Bye-bye.